Hello, I've just finished editing this video and I'm so excited about it. It turned out so well. I interviewed Shannon, who's the key makeup artist from the new Mean Girls film, and she showed me exactly how to do Regina George's makeup routine, which is so cool. And we spoke about all things Mean Girls, behind the scenes, and our favourite products. We filmed it over Zoom and there's a few parts where Shannon's video cuts out, and I've tried to edit around it so hopefully you can't notice, but I'm so sorry about that, but it's only for a couple of seconds and you can hear it the whole way through. Thank you, Shannon, for coming on my channel. This video is a dream come true and I hope you enjoy.
Makeup artist for Mean Girls, the musical movie, 2024. If you don't know what a key makeup artist is, if you don't work in television and film, so the way that it works is there's a department head and then there's a key and then they have a whole team of other people. So I would say look at it as if you were a store manager, you have a manager and assistant manager. I was kind of like the assistant manager, but I was primarily Regina and Jaquil's makeup, or Damien.
Yeah, which is like the most iconic makeup.
Amy and I are going to recreate the classic Regina George look when she was like her most confident, when we first see her, when she walks into the lunchroom table and we go to her house. So when she's at the highest of her high, we're going to recreate that look. But if you can see, we are not the same complexions. So because of that, Amy is going to use the products that are as close to the products that I use on actual Regina George or Renee Rapp, and I'm going to use similar products that will give the same look. So at the end of this, we will look as close as possible to her.
Yeah. So this is like the perfect Regina George makeup look, like her actual makeup, which is really fun.
It is. It's actually not even that complicated. So we cheated and we already put our foundation on.
Yeah.
And the reason why I said that we should do that is because you can use whatever foundation that you want to use, because we're two different complexions. I have on, you know, a regular foundation, a little bit of a highlighter and some powder.
You mentioned to me that you used the Armani foundation.
Use the Armani foundation on her. I also use the Chanel foundation as well. Yeah. So the first thing that I would say, I like to start makeup by doing your brows first. So I'm going to brush my brows because that's the first thing that I do in general. Kind of aggressively, if you want to. Really, really great brows. You don't really need to fill in your brows. But for TV and film, you should fill in your brows a little bit. After you brush your brows, and Amy and I both have very, very nice brows, so it's not like a lot of filling in. She has the Anastasia soft brown one, and I have the Anastasia the marker one, but it's still the same brand. I just like the marker one a little bit better. Really lightly, you're not actually like painting the brows or like, you know, making them much darker or creating, and you want to follow the shape that your natural brow is at. So I just followed the shape that Renee, or Regina George's character, but Renee Rapp was the real actress, had, and she already had really, really great brows.
So how did you approach designing and creating Regina's signature look?
I felt like would be timeless and classic. So I looked at what the original movie was, and then I looked at what was happening in today's time period. And right now, you know, eyeliner is everywhere. Eyeliner has had a lot of different moments, like shapes and all kinds of things. So I wanted to make sure that I at least had an eyeliner and something that was like bold. And I wanted to upgrade her lip. It was more like a matte lip at that time. And like right now, everything's a little bit, it's not necessarily glossy, not like 1990s glossy, but it's a little bit more like healthy, I would say. So I wanted to use something that made her lips look healthy, and I also want her skin to look really dewy and really like healthy. The original film, everything was flat because it was just that time period, and that makeup was the time period that it worked. So I didn't vary from those particular things, and I wanted her to feel relatable, but also feel like classic in a way as well, that the original movie lasted 20 years. This movie may last another 20 years, and then you can now create those two looks, and it's not much of a difference.
Where did you get your inspiration from? Just what you're seeing everywhere?
Yeah, just from the world. I talked to Renee, asked her what her opinion was. The directors have an idea of what they want it to look like. And then, like I said, there's a department head. Her name is, she's very much alive, George. She's my set wife for life. And we collaborate. And so, you know, we talked to make sure that we were on the same page, that I wasn't doing anything that was like going to be different than somebody else. But it's a collaborative moment. Step I would say would be like, let's start eyeshadow. Okay. So I'm going to use the eyeshadow base. This is the Urban Decay Primer Potion.
I've actually had this for probably like 6 months and I've not used it yet. I've had it for so long.
Favorite out of all the primers in the world. This is my favorite one. I own a lot of them. When I tell you it's my favorite, if I look through all those things that are behind me, I have a lot of them. They're my favorite.
I just never prime my eyes. I just put like concealer on my eyes.
Priming your eyes. You just didn't use the product for it. Okay,
Yeah.
put it on your eyelid and slightly up into your crease. It dries down kind of fast, but don't worry about it. Even if it dries down, you still can apply a color over top of it.
How did you change the makeup for each character to define their character and make them look different?
Regina had 3 looks that were in the film that were so the rocking around the pole look was one of them, and you know, the classic Christmas look, and we added glitter. So we kind of did the exact same thing that we did for the first one, except we elevated and added glitter to the eyes. And then her wet look. So it was her regular makeup, and then I just used a liquid highlighter to be able to make it look like her skin was glowing. And then I used Evian water and actually put her real mascara on and put it on and then sprayed it with Evian water to give the effect. So I really...
That's such a good idea.
Yeah. So
every time I've ever done like fake mascara running, I've had like black eyeshadow and tried to like smudge it and it's really hard.
Oh, you just take the mascara on, put it on your face and spray some Evian water and it does it naturally for you.
Oh my god, I'm gonna try that.
The next thing we're gonna do the eyes. So I have the Tartelette palette. Okay, so in the Tartelette palette, this is where it's gonna be a little bit different.
I did try to get that one. You can't get that palette in the UK, so I got this Tarte palette.
Oh, I have that one. You want me to...
Looks similar.
It does look similar. Okay. So, all right, look, they can't get it there. Wow, you can't get it there. This is like my staple palette for everybody.
I know, it's crazy. I used to go to America and buy so much Tarte stuff, and they only brought it over here like a year ago.
Oh, I use with the lighter color, so not the super light color, the color that's right next to it. So if any of you and your palette,
like that one.
Yeah. So for me, for my complexion, because if I use that color, it's gonna look like ash on my face. I'm gonna use the color that's right underneath that color. Press that onto my eyelid. For your crease, you're gonna use a floppy brush, and then I'm gonna use that dark color that's at the top right next to it. And let me see your palette, Amy. And you would use
maybe like one of them ones.
So on the second line, that third one.
That one.
No, second one. One up. Over.
That one.
Over. Yes, that. You're gonna use that color, and you're gonna use it really, really lightly in the crease of the eye. You're gonna put more of the color onto the corner of the eye, not small little circles. I don't know why. I think I've just been doing it for 26 years.
So how did you work on creating Regina's look with Renee?
Renee is really, really great. Like, she was game for anything that we were into. There wasn't anything that she kind of was like no to. Also, like I said, she didn't have a lot of like very, very, very dramatic looks, but the Janice character has a lot more makeup transitions in it, and she's a lot more
so good.
She's a lot more creative in it. And like I said, George did her makeup, so all of her makeup looks done by her. So it was also really great to see in the trailer every day everything that they came up with, and then to see it on set was even more amazing. So Regina didn't have as many different makeup looks, so when we did the specific looks, we wanted to make sure that they were elevated and they also were classic. Like I said, the rocking around the pole and the wet look. But when we had to have her pare down, where she had to look like she was like frumpy and had the sweatpants on, we did all of the same makeup except we didn't do the eyeliner, and I didn't do eyeshadow. That's it.
Wow.
The next part is the complicated part. It is an eyeliner. Anybody that has to do with eyeliner, this is my professional opinion. Eyeliner takes practice. Do not feel bad if you're not getting it right. Do not be in your feelings. If one eye goes on perfect and another eye goes on different. I like to use a pot and a brush. If you are not comfortable with this and you want to create the same look, use something else. Use a pen. Use a pencil. Hold your eye tight on the side and then take the brush and then slide it across. What you're going to do is you're just going to extend it out just a touch. So not a whole lot, but just a touch. Makeup trick. Let's say that you do make your eyeliner a little bit too long or a little bit too thick. All you have to do is use a little bit of a concealer. This is a Huda concealer. That just happens to be my complexion. Take that concealer that's your same color complexion and a little bit of the brush, and then you clean up underneath that area. And it will also make the line sharper if you need to make it sharper. And it will remove any of the other excess that happened. The next thing is mascara. So it's voluminous mascara. This is my favorite mascara of all mascaras. Never pump your mascara. I don't think people pump their mascara anymore. No. And just take the excess if you have any excess and put that in it. And mascara goes from the bottom of the lashes and you're gonna wiggle all the way up. I've used a lot of different brands of mascara and I really do like mascara. And my real life blue mascara is my favorite mascara. I'll wear a blue mascara more than I'll wear a black mascara. And even L'Oreal makes a great blue. They make a good blue one too. And you're gonna go across the bottom lashes as well. Oh.
Was there one product that you just couldn't stop using when you were working on Mean Girls that everyone was obsessed with?
I use the Dior lip oil a lot. Everybody kind of really like that. Like
a classic.
Even the plastics, like they had a version of that in their real life because they didn't have it on camera because they would use something else. But in their real life, everybody was like, what's the stuff that she had on? Like,
what was the most challenging part about working on Mean Girls?
Some of the late nights. So it was a musical. So because of that, it wasn't just like a movie where it's like this one scene is done. So it would be like a part of a scene and then they would have all these dancers come in and do that in the movie because a movie is edited together, but they were called what we call oneers, meaning that they did it all in one take, right? Yeah. So they would come down the stairs, do the whole dancing stuff, do the whole singing stuff, and the whole scene in one take. So that could take like, 6 to 7 minutes or 15 minutes each time. Yeah. So if you do that 30 times, you end up being there till like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. It was an amazing crew. And the directors were a couple. So it was interesting to see how they worked off each other and they, created the whole look and just to see the things in real life, so that was
It's a really fun film.
It is. It's very happy.
Just fun.
And bright.
Yeah.
It is. It's fun and bright. It's all of that. Again, if you haven't seen it yet, here's a spoiler, but when they're on the swings and they go back and forth, when we saw it in real life, you see these big cranes because they have to have a crane so she can sit on it. Yeah. But when I saw it on camera, I was like, oh, it's so sweet. You see all the technical parts of it when you're in person, but when you see it on camera, you're like, oh, they put that together. It was so lovely.
Did you shoot it in a real school?
Yes, we shot it in a real high school. The high school was not in service. It had been cut down, but it was a real high school. We were in a real lunchroom, and we were in all of those things. So the next thing would be blush. So I'm gonna use a matte blush.
I'm gonna use the NARS one in Deep Throat.
Similar color, mine's just a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit darker, but very similar.
Is this one you used on Renee?
Yep, that's the one I used on Renee. That's the exact same one. On the apple of the cheek, all the way back to the ear. Really aggressive, but not, if that makes sense.
How long did it take to do Renee's makeup?
22 minutes.
That's actually really quick.
You don't have a lot of time to do makeup. You have to get everybody through.
No.
Like if it takes you an hour to do makeup and it's not special effects, then there needs to be a reason behind that. Meaning that hey, that person had had to do a lot of color correction, or they had rosacea, or it takes a little bit of extra time.
Yeah.
But majority of the time, people are normally in and out of makeup between 30 minutes. We're gonna add a little bit of a highlighter that you use.
Charlotte Tilbury one.
Yep, the Charlotte Tilbury one. I'm using the Huda one. You're gonna use the lighter one that's in there, center of your nose, just at the tip of it. And then you're gonna put right underneath kind of like your cheekbone eye area, and then blend it down into that blush.
Do you have any tips for people wanting to get into film makeup?
My tip would be, number one, try to work or volunteer as much as you can on anything that has to do with major motion. So rather that be like a student film, rather that be just things that get you on set. And the reason why is
Yeah.
because 20% of what you do as a makeup artist in TV and film is makeup. 20% of it is makeup. The other 80% is a lot of stuff that you can't learn makeup wise. So set etiquette, the language, like how to work with an actor and those particular things. And you have to be in that environment in order for you to learn what those things are and also hear that language. So I always say to try to get yourself in those environments. And people say, well, how do I get in those environments? Every university has a film department. Those film departments, those students have to do a student film. It is part of how they can graduate, and they have no money. And also, everybody is like new. So you won't feel bad if you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, because nobody knows what they're doing, right? It's a safe place for you to start and figure it out. It also builds relationships, because those people that end up doing those films end up graduating and they become the people that you believe. I went to Howard University and I was a theater major that ended up becoming a makeup major, created the makeup degree. And I went down to the film department and was like, I think y'all need a makeup artist. And ironically, I did end up doing makeup for those students' films. And now there are really, really big directors that I work with all the time that happen to be my real life friends. Because
that's so cool.
I went down when I was 20 something and was like, hey, those kind of things. So get yourself in those environments. Also reach out to other artists and say, hey, can I shadow you? Can I, can I be on set with you? If I can, majority of the time that answer is going to be no. Do not be upset if it's no. And the reason why it's going to be no is because if it's a union film and if there are rules and regulations, but if there's something that they can get you on and they can have you be there for a few hours, take that opportunity. You're probably not going to get paid for a while. And sometimes people are like, well, I need to get paid. I'm a makeup artist. It's not taken away from your craft. If you don't know the etiquette and you don't know those kind of things, that's what you're learning. So that's your pain. And once you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've been on a few sets before, I know this and I know this, then you can negotiate a rate and say, okay, well, I may not be able to pay what she's getting paid because she has this many years of it, but I would like to get paid that amount. And you can argue that, or you can negotiate for yourself, because that makes sense. You're like, if I've done 7 student films, guess what you have? Experience.
Yeah.
So those free student films, now you can apply for an independent film.
Yeah.
Right.
So is that how you got started?
Yes and no. My start is a little bit more a roundabout. You have a lip liner. There's Charlotte Tilbury lip liner. I'm not going to do a lip liner because that lip liner is not going to look flattering on me. That step and just put a lip balm on. So just line your lips how you would naturally line them. Follow the naturalness of it.
I feel like I see everyone use this lip combo on TikTok. It's the same 2 products always. It's everywhere.
I had never seen it before until I did it on this film. So I would say that I created it, but I know that's a lie. But in my heart, I want to be like, it was because of me. But I've been living on the earth long enough to know that that's not true. Yeah. Nothing is anybody's. Somebody did it somewhere at some point. Oh, that's so pretty. Some people just wear the lip liner by itself. Thing we're going to put on is a lip oil. So you're using the Dior one, and I'm using the Tower 28 one, but it's like the similar color. And then just put it on, and then you have created the Regina George.
No, this is a really nice routine.
Something you actually can, I wouldn't say do it every day, but it's not anything that it's like over the top or doesn't take a whole long. You still look like yourself, and it's classic, right?
Yeah.
It's very similar to a lot of people's makeup routine, which makes it really nice. Because it makes her almost more relatable.
And approachable, which was also one of the reasons why I wanted to be able to not do anything that was super dramatic or super drastic as well. One, I didn't want something to be dated where you look back at it and you're like, oh my God, that was so 2020. But to answer the question, how I started in makeup, I had a very interesting start in makeup. So I grew up over top of a funeral home. I had a non-traditional upbringing. My father was a funeral director, grandfather was a funeral director, great grandfather was a funeral director. And part of my chores was to help to dress the bodies and do the chairs and do the makeup. And so my dad taught me how to do makeup, and I actually learned how to do special effects makeup before I even knew how to do special effects makeup, because when someone died, and let's say they needed to have an open casket, but something was the matter with their face, my father would use more tissue wax and do all that. But I didn't want to be a makeup artist. I just wanted to get my money for my chores. College and was an acting major, and I had to take a makeup class while I was in school. And I knew a whole lot about makeup, more than a lot of people did. And at the end of the class, I was like, I think I want to do makeup more than I want to do acting. And my makeup instructor and professor was a very, very champion of that. And we collaborated together. And I was the first person to get a degree in makeup from my university. And in that time period, thank you. In that time period, I went down to, like I said, to this film school and was like, hey, don't you need a makeup artist?
Yeah.
I don't even think Craigslist exists anymore, but they would have something called the film department. So I would go in there, and then any independent thing I could get on, I would do on that. And then I went to a university that had a lot of celebrities that came through the university. So I would like go and do all their makeup because it was part of my class. So, and then they would ask me to do stuff outside of there because they liked me in that way. And then I graduated and I just hustled as much as I can to try to work as much as I can. But I had experience. So when I graduated, I wasn't new. I had already 4 years of film experience and those particular student films and all of those things. So I got into the makeup union when I was 23. I was one of the youngest people to get into the makeup union at that time period. Younger people got since. And then I wrote a makeup book called Makeup is Just Colored Dirt, which is available everywhere books are sold. And it is was my university's curriculum for a very long time, which made me the first person to have a makeup artist to have an official
Can you
curriculum.
buy it?
Yes, it's available everywhere books are sold. Makeup is Just
I'm gonna get it.
So I wanted to be an actor. I didn't want to be a makeup artist, but my director father is the reason why I'm a makeup artist.
That's crazy. I've never heard a makeup story like it.
Yeah. What was your favorite look that you got to create?
Favorite look that I got to create was actually on Damien. And it was when he was in the hallway and he has the cape on again. This is a spoiler if you haven't seen the movie, people. Then when we were in the film, it was called the Imagination Hallway. When you're seeing the film, you just see all these like colorful things that are happening and all these like, it looks like his face is like crying, but they're like glitter tears that are coming down his eyes.
That was so good.
And his lips are like fluorescent. That was my favorite out of all of it. And the reason why is because I think that it like made so much sense for that scene, and it was just really, really fun to do. So that was my favorite out of all of the ones that we did.
I think that was my favorite scene. I like that scene.
My second favorite, I didn't do. I didn't do it. And I was so envious that when I saw it. And that's when, again, spoiler if you haven't seen the movie, when Janice has the red ribbon on her face when she comes from the art gallery and she sees her.
So cool.
It was so cool. And when I saw it being happening right next to me, I was doing Regina's makeup at the time and I wanted to look over the entire time. I was like, that's so cool.
It's so cool.
After all these years, I still get so excited to see other people work. I really am championing other people. Like, just because you're an artist and you do something in your own way, I love to see other people's, because you can learn so much other stuff. It also can spark other creativity for yourself that you may not think.
My two favorite scenes was that one, and I don't know what the official name was, but at the Halloween party, when Regina sang that song, so good. So good.
That was the only thing different I did for that look, is I gave a little bit more highlighter on the face to make it look like she had a glow, because it was dark in there and it had like lights. And I gave her a little bit more of a shimmer eyeshadow instead of the matte eyeshadow. Everything else was the same.
Yeah.
That was also my favorite costume. The silver with the wing, that was my favorite costume. Yeah. I would wear that in real life. I told them that too. I was like, that would be something I would wear.
I know, it was so good. I loved it.
But it was a fun movie. It was fun to be a part of. And I'm really happy that people are really liking it and enjoying it and like recreating it, and like, because it can be, so fun. It could be an epic fail. It really could be, if all these years later and people have an idea of what the film is, and then you see it and you're like, it wasn't as good as what I thought. Or they didn't look as cool as I thought they would.
No, it was like everything that I wanted and more. It was so good.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
It was so good. I went to watch it on the release day with all my friends, and we got back into my friend's car. We literally sat in the car park for like 10 minutes just gossiping about it and just saying how much we loved all these different things from it, and it was so good.
I went to the premiere, and at the premiere I was, oh my goodness, this is so good. It really, really is good. And I was texting some of the other, because you have the premiere, so you're in the theater. we were texting people. They were like, "It looks so good." It really, really
Yeah.
I guess you probably wouldn't see it from that point of view because it looks very different with all like the cameras there, and I'm sure some things look very much like a set and not real life.
all of it looks like a set and not real life.
Yeah.
And movies are not shot in order. So you don't get to see it put together until you see it on camera. So, you know, we started one day, like our first day of shooting was Regina George coming in the hallway and the book being on the floor. That was the first day of shooting, which
Oh
is
my God.
that's in the middle of the movie.
Weird.
Right. Well, that's just kind of how film works. They're not shot in order. It's not like a play. Like if you go to a play, they rehearse and you see it in order, but a movie is shot out of order. So you don't get to see what all of it looks like until you go and see the film or the film is released. And sometimes you shoot things and it never makes the film. Really happy with like how it all came together. And I'm very happy that people really, really, really like it. It was a good time to be a part of. And I'm really honored that I was a part of the film and will be a part of Regina George 2024 history.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so iconic. To finish off this little interview, what was your favorite behind the scenes memory?
My favorite behind the scenes memory. So because it's a musical, everybody can really sing, right? And Regina, Renee Rapp, I don't know if you know, she's a big superstar and she can really sing. But she also was in the original Mean Girls musical. And Jaquel his show got the Tony Award, so he was in a Broadway show as well. He plays Damien. And so my favorite behind the scenes was they would sing like all like outside Broadway songs. And then one day, one of the actors started singing a Spanish song, and then they put that song on, and then everybody started salsa dancing. Like the entire crew was salsa dancing as they were singing the song. So that was a magical really cool moment. Yeah, while they were like setting everything up, you saw like 400 people like salsa dancing while you know the actors were singing. And when you can really sing, it makes it even more of like a moment where you're like, oh my God, that's really, really great. So that was a really fun thing that like I had the privilege to be a part of that nobody would probably see. Thank you for having me do this collab with you. For all of Amy's followers, this is the first time I've ever done my makeup on camera, so I was a little bit nervous. So hopefully you've done really well. I hope I did a really good job. But I appreciate the collaboration with you, and I think that you're a really, really talented and beautiful makeup artist. And if you do, you know, decide that you want to venture into the world of this and get to create it, I think you would be amazing in it and you would create a lot of different stuff. But thank you for including me. I really, really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on my channel and talking to me about it. I've really, really enjoyed it, and it's like a bucket list. I've always been a huge fan of Mean Girls, so it's like a dream come true.
Oh, well, there you go. Check off the bucket.
Yeah. And now everyone knows how to look like Regina George.
And no matter what color you are.
No, it's great. Easy look that anyone can do.
Or just because it's Wednesday if you want to do it.
Yeah. Okay. It is Wednesday today. And I'm wearing pink.
I wear pink, but I have pink behind
me. I put this on especially for this. I was like, oh, it's a Wednesday. I have to wear pink.
It is. I totally forgot that it was Wednesday. But I did wear pink every single Wednesday on set. We had 12 Wednesdays and I wore pink for 12.
Wow.
Most of the crew did too. That was a cool behind the scenes thing that most of the crew
that's fun.
Yeah. Even the camera department, which are these really brawly men, you know, like think of like your really, really strong uncle wore pink shirts. It was the sweetest thing. It was so nice.
That's so cool.
If you haven't followed me, you should go ahead and do that. It is, if you're on YouTube, it's The Pretty Department. You'll see my face. And if you're on any of the other social medias, like the IGs of them all, it is Pretty Department, not the. So if you're on YouTube at The Pretty Department, if you're on IG, it's just The Pretty Department.
I'll link them in the description so you can find them.
Thank you so much for coming on my channel.
Thank you for having me on your channel. It was so much fun.